Hey there, everyone. This is Mr. Huggles, and I thought I'd put together a quick video on how to mod Dragon's Dogma. This is meant to be a very basic, very simple video, as opposed to a more complex and thorough take, so there will be some things that aren't going to be covered, but I think the majority of the basics will be covered, so that most players will be able to mod their game either common mods for drag and drop or manually modding with merging multiple mods into one. With that out of the way, let's get started. I have a few mods already selected and set up that I would like to demonstrate with. The first is going to be the Black Retextures and More mod by whoever this is, Eclector. I don't know how to pronounce that name. This is a really good example of a basic common mod. This is a mod that replaces weapon and armor textures, specifically making uh, very specific armors look darker or pure black. Um, it's fairly common for a lot of players that are into this kind of stuff. Uh, Not my personal taste, but it does highlight how a mod should probably be packaged, or in the very least, the simplest type of mod that we can install. If you go over to the mods page and select the files tab, this is Nexus Mod Manager or Nexus Mods, sorry. Um, then you'll be able to find all the different download pages. This mod in particular is actually packaged correctly for use with Nexus Mod Manager of all things. That's incredible. I don't think anyone even remembers that's being a tool anymore. Um, but before you would click the download buttons, it is very recommended to preview your files. You can do that with the link right below the download buttons. It'll pop up in a little tab here, and you'll see all the files that are included with the download. This is something that most people will want to look through. I believe most new people for modding aren't going to understand what a lot of this is. To be frank, even I don't know exactly what each one of these is, but it will tell you exactly what files are going to be included and which ones you're going to need to be replacing. They actually go so far as to include backups for everything, essentially duplicates of the files except non-modded, so that if you wanted to revert, you could. But you will actually be able to see that the exact folders that everything goes into, and you'll be able to see what types of files or archives are being used. Archives are the files listed as .arc, and most of these are going to be not a problem for anyone since these archives are all self-contained for the most part. They are specific to legs, they are specific to bodies. It's going to be all the armors or any specific weapons that this mod alters. Very simple. This is a type of mod you could easily drag and drop and just replace any files with and be safe, especially since they include backups. That way you can revert in case you ever needed to. Uh, Leaving this, we do have another mod though that highlights a more common, complex mod situation. This is a mod that is very simple. It augments how high your character can jump. Um, Previewing the files, we'll see it is a lot fewer than the previous mod. In fact, it is only one, the notorious game main archive. A lot of mods that do things such as altering character or player mechanics, like jumping or how quickly you move, they will all affect the game main archive, usually. I say all, but certainly not all. More common things such as retextures, they are going to be outside of the game main archive and are going to be free from being overwritten by other mods. Since a lot of mods that are popular, or at least do popular things like altering how much you can carry or how high you can jump, are going to replace this exact same game main archive, it is very important to learn how to merge mods, or at the very least, have the foresight and knowledge to click on the preview files button and see if the mod you want to install is going to replace this archive or any other archives that have already had mods installed for them. Now I have gone ahead and already downloaded a few of these mods. I have downloaded the black retextures, I have downloaded the jump mod, and I have also downloaded a carry capacity mod that increases how much you can carry. When you look into these, you'll see the exact same files that we were seeing in the preview tab, along with all of the backups. Here are the actual files being replaced. Inside it will be the backup. Here are the unmodded files if you ever need to restore something. Now we could go ahead and drag and drop these, but there's a little work we need to do. As I said earlier, the jump mod and the carry capacity mod both replace game main archive. So we're going to need to go in and combine those mods. No, Windows, why? We're going to need to combine both of these archives so that we can have both mods in the same game main archive. If we were to try and install both of these right now, the first mod that we would install, let's say it was the carry capacity, it would work. Then if we wanted immediately after install the jump mod, this file, since it has the exact same name as the other one, is going to replace it. That means your carry capacity mod will no longer be installed and you will only have the jump mod. We want to have both at the same time, so let's merge these mods. First thing you're going to want to do is download a tool called not Fluffy Manager. It's by Fluffy Quack. It's the archive tool. Uh, if you go over to fluffyquack.com, you'll find a lot of tools that he has built. Uh, Here's Fluffy Manager 5000. This is a mod manager I will be showing you later in the video. I already have it downloaded. And here is the archive tool that he has made. Uh, more Click the more info button. It will redirect you to the Resident Evil forums where the tool was first hosted. You can download the tool with the first link, and you'll need to also download a set of batch files, or BAT files for short. There are ones for PC games, ones for Xbox 360 games, and ones for PS3 games. You will want the PC games. Now, I already have this downloaded as well. Be aware that PC batch files download is going to include batch files for multiple PC games. I will show you what that looks like and show you which one to pick and grab ahead of time. Now, ignoring all of this, in fact, I can close the browser, I think. Once you have your archive tool downloaded, you're going to want to set it up somewhere. I have already placed it in a mods folder, and a very specific one just for modding tools. Here we have the archive tool and a bunch of operation rooms, as I call them, where you would, what do you call it, dissect your game main archives or any other archive you are wanting to take apart. In it would be the archive tool itself, as well as the batch file to go along with it. Amongst all of the different batch files you will get for the PC batch file collection that you are downloading, you're going to want to select the one that is called PC-dd.bat. The DD stands for Dragon's Dogma, if it's not already obvious. They're out of the bat or out the window. This will work perfectly fine with your ARC tool, but if you are like me and you want access to a few more files when you are dissecting your archives, you will want to edit this a little bit. If you already have something like Notepad or Notepad++, you'll want to right-click, select to open the batch file with either Notepad, and you will see a command line, I believe it might be called. It's essentially a string of commands for the arc tool to use in combination with the batch file. Initially, you will not have the minus XFS added in there. You can add that anywhere you want between the percents and arc tool. Uh, I prefer just right after DD, so it's really simple. That will allow you to extract such things as XML files if you want to do more advanced modding. There are a few mods with Dragon's Dogma that will require you to have minus XFS because you will need to get at some of those more niche files. Good example of a mod that will require this is the altered EXP gains mod. Uh, that is going to be very much required for use with world difficulty so that you aren't gaining levels very rapidly. Whether you want to add that file extension or not to the batch file is completely optional. You do not need to do that though. So now that we have a location for our arc tool and the corresponding batch file, in my case I have 4 locations, 4 instances of each one. Let's go ahead and take our archives and put them in there. We have, let's use the first operation room. That will contain our archive for the jump mod. Let's go ahead and drag and drop or copy paste. I'm a bit sloppy in this. It is usually smarter to have a little backup in case you mess this up. I'm feeling confident. Oh boy, that could be my downfall. And operation room 2. Let's say that is carry capacity. Now that we have these set up, let's go ahead and unpack these. We're going to drag and drop them onto the bat file. You'll see the command prompt open as it runs through and very rapidly unpacks and assigns everything. You'll have log files down here so that you can look back if you felt like it and see everything that the tool was doing. Once the command window disappears, you will now have a folder by the same name as the archive. That is essentially what the archive is containing, a folder. The folder is going to have a bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of stuff. Some of this is unmodded. It is original or default to as it comes with the video game. Some of this, however, most likely within the parameter folder, since this is altering a parameter, is going to be modded. But you will not be able to most likely figure out what is altered in here unless you know exactly which files you need to be replacing. Let's go ahead and get that game main folder ready with the other mod. Give it a moment. The game main archive is very large compared to other archives in the game. You'll notice that with the other mod, it is very much the same thing. The game will not work if any of these folders or their files are missing. So every time a mod maker or mod author creates a mod that uses the game main archive, they have to include every one of these files, even if they haven't changed it for the purpose of their mod. They have to assume that the mod user is only using their mod and therefore package it with as a completed game main archive on its own. A more conscientious or aware mod author would probably do this plus have a loose version that only has their modded files in case someone wants to merge. But in the case of Dragon's Dogma, most mod authors have not done that. It's very rare with this game. Less rare with other games. But for Dragon's Dogma, it is a horrible, horrible situation. One way that we can figure out, though, which of these files is modded so that we can carry them over and combine them with the other mod is use a tool called WinMerge. You can go online and download that. It has its own dedicated website, winmerge.org, and download to your heart's content, I guess. This is a very powerful tool that lets you see which files are different from each other. This window right here actually has a very good example of what happens when you're looking over two nearly identical files. If you're comparing something such as an XML file, you'll see one on one side that has data and another on one side that's maybe missing data because it's different on one side. We're not going to be going quite that deep. Most users do not need to go that deep. Instead, we'll be going through a very basic form of it. I already have WinMerge installed. Here we go. Let's go ahead and activate it. Now this is going to be a lot of stuff in here that we will not be touching in the slightest due to just how complex WinMerge is as a tool. Once you have your game main archives extracted so that you can get inside the game main folder, we are going to you're going to need to go into WinMerge, click the Open folder. You can also do it from the File menu. Select Open. You'll have a page here that will allow you to select up to 3 files or 3 folders for comparison. The first one we're going to do is the game main folder from our very first operation room. So here we are browsing for that folder. Going to operation room number 1, and we're going to select the folder. Go ahead and open. It will go in here, but without selecting anything, we're going to leave it to select the entire folder. Going to hit open. And for the second file, we're going to do the exact same thing, but for the other operation room. Operation room 2, game main folder. Make sure you are selecting the folder, not the archive. If you select to compare the archives, then you will get a garbled mess as these archives are in binary. You need it to be the folder so that you can compare non-binary structures and actually have something legible. Go ahead and select the folder again. And go ahead and select this little tick box at the bottom that says include subfolders. That will be helpful. Select compare. And here we have all those exact same folders that we saw inside the game main folder itself. Some of these are highlighted, specifically effects, model, and parameter. These are folders that have different files or files that differ between the two comparisons. We can expand these to see very specifically what files inside the folders are being different or altered. Here we can see 2 very specific files here. It looks like these are text files. Essentially what we have here now is a easy way to discern which files we would need to perhaps copy paste from one operation room into the other. Now we could copy paste and hunt down the very specific files if needed, but there is an easier method. Since the mods here, we do not need that. Since the mods here are being compared left to right, you can actually see up at the top here in the blue bar what the file destinations are being compared. Since these are both mods, we are going to tell WinMerge to take the mod contents of the right folder here and merge it with the mod contents of the left folder so that the game main folder in Operation Room 1 will contain data for both mods. I just need to remember how to do that now. If I recall, yep. So we can highlight all of it and tell it to copy paste over, or we could go ahead. Oh my God, get out of that. Go ahead and I believe it would be safe to just highlight all, but if you want to make certain that you are safe, you could go ahead and collapse these down into the very bare basics files so that you know you're getting only what you need and nothing is left behind. that might otherwise overwrite stuff. Screw that. That is a lot of clicking. Copy all, or not copy all, highlight all. Once you get your files selected, nothing should be damaged here between these two mods. They don't change enough. Different files in one are not the exact same files that were modded in the other. Uh, I know that for a very fact. Once you get your selected files highlighted, you'll have two options here that light up. This is going to be copy the files on the right to the left, essentially Operation Room 2 into Operation Room 1, or copy the files from right to left. Oh wait, that was totally backwards. Oh yeah, from copyright. God, I hate that. It says copyright, moving from left to right. I hate the terminology in this program. Look at the arrows that are here though. The arrows is pointing left, so it moves files from your right comparison or second file over to the left, which would be your first operation room. I'm going to go ahead and click that, move it from operation room 2 into operation room 1. And it's not so much the operation room itself, but it is merging the files between the unpacked game main archives. As you just saw there, it was computing. Everything has now been merged. If I was to click now, you'll see that nothing is highlighted. All of the files between the two are identical now, since all the different files from one to the other was simply what was modded. They have been combined, they are merged, they are good to go. We're going to close WinMerge. We're going to go back into Operation Room, number 1. This is now going to have our modded game main archive. We're going to need to repackage this though. Drag the folder onto the PC batch file, the folder specifically, not the archive. Take that folder, drop it onto the batch file, let it repack it, and you now have a brand new game main archive. Let's go ahead and put this into a game, shall we? I believe there's something I am forgetting for some reason. I'm going to clean this up while I'm thinking. No, not that. Leave that. There we go. It's a game main archive. So we have a modded, merged game main archive. And we also have our black retextures mod, which thankfully is formatted correctly with native PC. ROM in the correct equipment and weapon files. At least I think WP is for weapon. It should be. Yeah, that's weapon. Now we need to figure out where to place these. We obviously know where the black retextures mod is going to be placed. Oh, that's right. We can use our jump mod. We can always replace this. So initially our game main archive was inside the jump mod. Let's go ahead and place it there just for the ease of moving and replacing. So we have our black retextures mod here, which has native PC. We're going to just combine the native PC here. That has now added our modded game main archive into it. And so here's our modded jump and carry capacity right alongside the black retextures, all in a single native PC folder. In fact, if I was smart, I could just get rid of this. We'll place that right there. We no longer need these. And we have our modded collection setting up there. Now, initially, if you had that, a very common thing to do would be to go over to your game installation within Steam and drag and drop or copy paste. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you guys a safer way to do this, since a lot of people are not going to be aware to make backups. It is usually a smart idea to have a copy of your game installation, or at the very least, the very specific files that you are replacing. Maybe it would be a copy of the game main archive somewhere else on your computer. That way, if you need to uninstall mods, you can easily put this normal gaming archive back. But there's an even better solution to this, and that comes in the form of Fluffy Manager 5000. Let me show that to you really quick. I have that installed already. You download this from Fluffy Quack's website, same place where you got your archive tool. Now, initially, you'll have to direct this mod manager to detect your Dragon's Dogma installation. I believe it will automatically do that for you if you did a normal Steam installation path for it. What this mod manager allows us to do is have mods be toggled on and off. I already have a custom mod pack and I have a test mod as well. I can click, give it a moment. It tells me that it copied 15 files and installed my mod pack. The copied files, those are the original unmodded game files. If I was to deactivate my mod pack, it refreshed or restored those 15 files. So now all of those backups are now being handled by Fluffy Manager. Anytime you want to turn on or turn off a mod, you no longer have to worry about sorting through your own backups and restoring those saved or copied files. Fluffy Manager is going to handle everything for you. You can do this for the D-input cheat tool, or I don't even think of it as cheating. You can definitely cheat with it, but it's helpful in a lot of other regards. You can do this with experimental files, as I'm doing at times. It's really handy. I have merged everything into a single pack. That's why I have it here. But this is actually roughly 8 to 12 mods all at once. If you wanted to, you wouldn't even need to worry about combining them into a single package. You could have them individually. The only time that that would not work is if it is replacing, again, something like the game main archive where two mods use the same archive or file. Uh, Unfortunately, Fluffy Manager will not merge files for you. It functions very much similar to Nexus Mod Manager, where it is simply copy pasting the mod files for you and installing it, but it's also handling backups for you. So when you deactivate your mod, it restores the game as if the mod was never there. Let me show you how to get your mod package ready so that you can turn it on and off just like this. We are going to go to my mods folder. Uh, Here I have a folder dedicated just my mod managers. Here's Fluffy Manager 5000. And when you install it initially, you will not have quite as many folders as you have here. A good example is you will not have a games folder unless Fluffy Manager has already been assigned to handle mods for a given game. In my case, it is dedicated to handling DD or Dragon's Dogma. Once you have pointed Fluffy Manager at your game path or game directory, you will have this folder. In here, you have the backups that the mod manager is making for you. These are the files that it's storing on hand so that you have backups to be, restored. Here are the mods though. These are all those options. You see I have the custom mod pack, D-input, and forward roll test. These are those 3 check marks that I had. Now, since we have our own mod here that we have just gone out of the way to combine, the black retextures, jumping, and carry capacity, we all essentially have done most of the work already in getting it prepared. What we need to do now is give it a name. Let's name this new mod pack. Now there will be a check mark for new mod pack in Fluffy Manager 5000, but there's nothing in here yet. Let's go ahead and put our mod in there. Now, in order for this mod to work correctly, yes, that is correct format. I had to double check myself here. In order for this mod to work correctly, it needs to be structured as in the exact same order of folders and files as you would find in your normal Steam installation. A good way to check that is to go to your install path. Actually, I should back this up. For me, I have all of mine on my secondary drive. Go into my Steam games, Steam apps, Common, Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. And here is the root directory or install path for the game itself. If anything were to go specifically into the main install path, a good example, dinput should be installed here, not inside any of these folders. Then you would need to place dinput's file loose in that very first top folder. Let's show you the dinput here. You can see the DLL and the INI are right here at the very top. Whatever is in this very first, I guess you would call this a window or section of the folder, will go into this very first level or section of the game's installation. For our mod pack, since we have mods inside native PC, native PC folder must go here because native PC folder also goes in the top, at the top of the, I can't word itself today, because native PC goes into the first area of the mod installation. If you clicked on that, native PC, here we have our ROM folder. There's our ROM folder. And you'll see if we keep going down this path, we'll find the exact same folders, even straight down to the game main archive itself. So this is ready to be dragged and dropped into the game's installation, and that is essentially what Fluffy Manager is going to do for us. With our mod placed inside the games folder that we got after directing Fluffy Manager at Dragon's Dogma, and we've gone inside, created our new mod name, drag and dropped our ready mod compilation there. We can go ahead and open Fluffy Manager. Now we have a new mod pack. We can click on it and it'll install for us. Installed the mod, new mod pack. It copied a whole bunch of these files. All those files that you saw stringing up here, those are the different texture archives that were being replaced by the black armors mod. You'll see them string by whenever we remove it. I guess you wouldn't, but it does tell you that it restored all of those files, and it also deleted a bunch of the ones that were no longer necessary now. This game has no mods, and now it does have mods, perfectly suitable for testing. If you wanted to, let's say if you left this window open and you placed your new mod pack in here, maybe you did not see it here initially, you could go ahead and just click the refresh mod list, and if it wasn't already there, it would have been added now. In fact, let's do that. Take out the new mod pack. We now should have only 3 bullet points. Let's refresh the mod list. Oh wait, really? It's not gonna work now? Oh, you're making me look stupid now. Is that because it was active? Oh, that, of course, there it goes. Only 3 mods present, but we have our mod pack there. Refresh mod list. There, now it detects the 4th mod list mod. I'm wondering if I messed it up now just because I forgot to deactivate it before removing it. But hey, learn from my mistakes. Don't remove mods when they're still installed. Now I'm probably going to have to restore my original files, but that's no problem because I have backups. That's why we back up, folks. Anyways, I hope this has been at the very least, educational video. I know this has been very sloppy and probably not as well planned out as I certainly was hoping it would be. If you have any questions, I would say ask me, but I'm maybe not always going to be around. But the folks at Dragon's Dogma Central will certainly be there to help you. We have numerous people over there that are familiar with modding the game, creating mods, you name it. Lots of great people there. Fluffy Quack himself, if you ever have a question, you can even ask him there sometimes. I'll leave a link in the video description, but chances are you'll probably find this video there anyways. That being said, this is Mr. Huggles signing out. Have a good day.